Beloved Guru Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, with great efforts, established a temple in Sri Mayapur Dham. It was there that Lord Chaitanya appeared in this world and inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. And Srila Prabhupada therefore considered Mayapur Dham from a spiritual perspective to be the center of the universe. And it was his vision that it be the international headquarters for the Krishna consciousness movement. At that time, in the early 70s, although a very holy place, Sri Mayapur Dham was quite isolated. There was just a few little temples established by his Gurudev Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada and some of his god brothers. Very simple road, the river Ganges, and so many agricultural fields. But in the heart of it is the Yoga Pit, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. Srila Prabhupada saw one very lonely field, and he envisioned that that would be his international headquarters. But no one would sell it to him. He sent so many people to try to get it, but it seemed impossible. He called for His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. If anyone could do it, it's you. And after great effort, he returned to Calcutta late at night, entered into Srila Prabhupada's room, and said, Srila Prabhupada, here is the deed for your property in Mayapur Dham. He had this vision even then, and started it with a little straw hut, literally made out of straw, thatched roof, straw walls, and he moved in. And he was so happy. There was nothing around but fields. And when the rainy season came and it flooded, whoever was there had to sleep on the straw roof because the whole hut became part of the Ganges River. But he wanted to emphasize, because it is Lord Chaitanya's eternal place of residence, how holy it is. Thakur Bhaktivinoda, the great saint, he had a dream that millions of people from all over the world, Europeans, Americans, Africans, Russians, Chinese, people from every land, from every race, from every religion, they would all gather together someday in Sri Mayapur Dham with their arms raised, chanting the holy names together. As brothers and sisters in the true sense, Because from a physical perspective, we have our brothers, our sisters, our family members. But in the view of eternity, how long do we have these relationships? They're important while they last. But after a few years, the Srimad Bhagavatam explains our relationships in this world are like pieces of straw in the river of life. And sometimes waves bring two straws together, sometimes 3, 4, 5, and then another wave comes and they all go their own way. By the power of time, we all must physically die, although the soul is eternal. And whatever physical relationships, we can't even remember. In our past lives, whatever relationships we had were probably as dear to us as now, as important to us as now. But we don't remember any of them. All we remember is the here and now. And in our next lives, who will we remember? But from a spiritual perspective, we are all eternal souls, Satchit Ananda, and Aham Bija Pratapita. Krishna tells, I am the father and mother of everyone. From that perspective, in truth, we are all brothers and sisters. And these relationships, when we realize our own spiritual essence, then we can perceive our relationships with others in this light. Neither time nor death can in any way influence these relationships. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda's dream was people from all castes, all races, all sexes, and whatever's in between these days. People from all religions, all ages, all educational, economic backgrounds, as eternal brothers and sisters with arms raised, embracing one another in love, will be chanting Krishna's names together. Because this was the gift that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give the world from Mayapur town. And I was just there in Mayapur. And there's thousands and thousands of devotees. There's hundreds when I was there. There was hundreds from Russia. There was dozens from China. There were people from Africa and Europe and America. A lot from India too. And places, Mongolia, South America, Australia, every place we went, singing and dancing together in love for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada fulfilled the dream of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And by his great compassion, he has asked us to carry on expanding this dream. In the Adi Lila of Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami cites Lord Chaitanya, who proclaimed that he was a gardener. And he had harvested innumerable fruits. Not ordinary fruits, but the fruits of Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, love for Krishna. He said, these fruits are so sweet, nectarine, and fulfilling. He said, all this is Krishna in the form of Mahaprabhu. Krishna says, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, I'm the proprietor of everything that exists. So if anybody knows the value, it's Krishna, the proprietor. We may guess what the value of some very wealthy person's, things in his houses, but he knows, or she knows. Lord Chaitanya said, all the wealth in the entire universe, in fact, all the wealth, all the property, all the jewels, everything in all the universes is not equal in value to even a single one of these fruits of love of God. Because it is so sweet that if one even tastes one fruit, even one bite of this fruit, one will be fully intoxicated in ecstasy and satisfied for the rest of eternity. And he said, I have billions of fruits, and I want to distribute them. I've come to this world to give these fruits to everyone and anyone, even if they don't ask. I don't see who's fit or unfit. I'm willing to give it to anyone. The only qualification is you accept it. Whether one is male or female or black or white or red or yellow or brown, or whether one is atheist, agnostic, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jews, Jain, Parsi, Sikh, or don't know. Whether one is rich or poor, illiterate, or a genius. I don't even consider these things, the Lord said. Even if you're the most sinful of all sinners, or if you're the most pious of all pious, doesn't matter. I want to give these fruits of love of God. Just take it. And Lord Chaitanya said, I have so many. How many could I distribute myself? Therefore, he was appealing to all concerned people in the world, to all his devotees. In fact, he gave an order to every living being. He said, accept this fruit, taste this fruit, be happy, and distribute this fruit to others. Because the perfection of life Can you hear me? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Can you hear me now? Okay. Krishna's curbing the pride of the sound system department. These people are very postgraduates in electrical technology. But in Krishna's temple, everyone is humbled. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the perfection of life is to use to dedicate one's work, wealth, one's mind and intelligence, and one's words for the benefit of others. This is civilization. This is culture. Culture is not just the way we dress. Culture is our character, the character of respect. Amanida manadena, to respect other people. To respect them as sacred, holy children of God. Essentially, everyone is that, whether they know it or not, whether they act like it or not. And to respect the soul of others is to try to do good for that soul. This is culture. To dedicate one's body, mind, and words for the welfare of other living beings. And the highest welfare is to distribute these fruits of love of God, to solve all problems and give one real happiness. Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam puramrita swadanam. The chanting of the holy names, Lord Chaitanya said, allows us to taste the nectar that we have been looking for birth after birth after birth after birth. The nectar of knowing Krishna and loving Krishna. True compassion in its fullest and purest state is compassion for the eternal soul of others. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us how to receive this fruit. When he was at Prayag, at the confluence of the Yamuna, Ganga, and Saraswati rivers, at the Dasasvamedha Ghat, he had met Sri Rupa Goswami. Lord Chaitanya, he had gone to Vrindavan. And on his way back, during the month of Magh, when there's a big festival, the Magh Mela, he went to Prayag. And there Rupa Goswami and his brother, Anupam, they saw the Lord. And when they first saw him leading a kirtan with thousands of people at the Veni Madhava temple, Rupa Goswami bowed down and with folded hands composed a verse that has never been forgotten. Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauda Tveshe Namaha. I offer my obeisances to you, Lord Gauranga, who are Krishna himself. But of all avatars, the mercy, the kindness, the love that you extend toward the souls of this world is unprecedented. Because you are giving the highest revelations to people who have no qualifications. In this age of Kali, the love of the Brajabasis of Vrindavan, you are giving freely. It was there that Lord Chaitanya instructed Rupa Goswami for 10 days. And he gave, once again, the analogy of the gardener. He said that each devotee should be like a gardener. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Latha Bija. That due to the influences of karma, the jiva, or the eternal soul, passes through so many lives. Padma Purana tells us that there are 8,400,000 species of life within the cosmic manifestation. And how many of these births we have evolved through, we cannot even calculate. And when one finally comes to the human life, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, it's very sacred. Durlabha Manava Janma Lobhya Samsare. The human life is so rare because, and the rarest thing in the human life is the association of devotees. Because in that association, one can understand what is our true purpose. What is Sanatana Dharma? After wandering and wandering and wandering through so many universes, when one is very fortunate, one comes in contact with Guru. The Guru plants, or we could say awakens, the seed of bhakti within the heart. In Sanskrit it is called the Bhakti Lata Bija, the seed of the creeper of pure devotion. There is nothing so precious as that seed, because if cultivated properly, it will grow into the fruit of love of God. Lord Chaitanya said that we water the seed through our sadhana, especially through hearing about Krishna and chanting Krishna's names, remembering Krishna. By hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, by meditating on the Lord in this way, it's like ambrosial water that nourishes that seed to grow. First it becomes like a little sprout that comes out. At the beginning we don't even know it's there. It's like it's underground. Yes, we all have the seed, but it's so deep underground. Until it begins to sprout, we don't know. But through hearing and chanting, a little sprout comes. And we keep watering, watering, watering. It grows bigger and bigger. But especially in the beginning stages, that little seed is very vulnerable. So we should build a fence around it. Otherwise, people will step on it and crush it. Or animals will step on it and crush it. And the way we protect it is with the fence of moral character. We follow these 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. These are just some basic ways of protecting the seed from being trampled upon by immoralities. And he especially warns us not to allow wild elephants into that little garden. Mad elephants. Have any of you ever met a mad elephant? I'm talking not figuratively, but for real. I was recently at our farm in Karnataka. Would you like to hear this story? Maybe I'd love to tell you in great detail, but it takes time. So I'll tell you very, very brief. They told me that there's a neighbor who has very fresh water, and they have to walk with buckets back and forth. But in the season where there's not growing of rice crops, they get to bring an ox-pulled water tank, and then it makes really easy for them. Now I was there, and it was the season of the rice crop, and I saw that they have the ox with the big water tank. I said, "How is this?" They said, "By the grace of a mad elephant." They told me this elephant, he comes every year or so. Huge male elephant with big tusks. And at night, he comes to this person's rice field and eats to his heart's content. And elephants eat a lot. So practically an entire paddy he eats. And then he eats so much, he lays down. And whatever he didn't eat, he crushes. Because when elephants lay on something, it's finished. And then he would just get up and keep laying in different places. And within a week or so, he destroyed all his fields. So the person said, "Come and get my water, it doesn't matter." But then they told me this little boy, about 8 years old, happened to be walking around, and he saw the elephant, and he screamed, and the elephant went and attacked that boy, trampled him with his feet, and then pierced his tusk through him. And the boy was killed. But because elephants are endangered species, you can't kill them. You'll be put in prison for a long time if you harm an elephant. So they couldn't do anything to the elephant, but the elephant was killing their children. And one day, 2 brahmacharis from our ashram, they happened to be walking, and they came face to face with the mad elephant. And the elephant went, sorry about that, and charged toward these 2 devotees. And the devotees were running, but elephants are very fast runners. The elephant was galloping, so there was no possibility that they could escape. They were running, and the elephant was catching up really fast, and he was screaming. And there was no doubt that he was going to trample them to death. So one of the devotees, when the elephant was just behind them, and they understood they were about to die, they were praying. Because what else could you do? You know, even if you're a champion cricket player or a good wrestler, or if you know karate, what can you do against an elephant? So one of them remembered when he was a child, he was from a village, and the person said, if you're ever attacked by a mad elephant, run down a hill. Because elephants could outrun any human. But because of the weight of their body, if they try to run downhill, they can't. They'll just roll down. So they have to go really slow when they're going downhill. And it just so happened, by Krishna's grace, they were running alongside a hill. So they both dove down the hill, and they were running and rolling and running, and the elephant started going after them, but he had to go really slow because he was so heavy. And in this way, they escaped. Now, should I give you my purport to this story? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, criticizing others and blaspheming Vaishnavas is the mad elephant offense. When, due to our false ego, we carelessly criticize others, blaspheme devotees of the Lord, it's like welcoming a mad elephant into this little garden in our heart where the seed of love of God is just sprouting. Even if it's a little big, it can't survive. So how to avoid having our devotional service trampled by the mad elephant? We have to be very enthusiastic to take a low position. Very well. Because if you try to go uphill, elephants are really fast. Trinadapi sunichena taror ibasihishana. Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. For humble like the grass, tolerant like a tree, offer all respect to others, not expect for ourselves. If we have this humble service attitude, there's no possibility of making offenses. So we have to run downhill, which means in this regard, we have to be eager for a humble service spirit. To be das anudas, not Prabhu, 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 Vibhu, Prabhu. So back to Lord Chaitanya's analogy. He explained that when you're watering the Bhakti Lata Bija, at the same time, weeds will grow. And the same water of hearing and chanting and devotional service, if we're not very careful, they will actually nourish the weeds. And what are the weeds? Selfish greed, desire for prestige and recognition, duplicity, egoistic diplomacy, desire for immoral activities, lying, cheating. These are all weeds. And factually, our sadhana, if we're not very careful, could water the weeds. We were discussing this. Sometimes our devotional activities could make us proud. So we have to be able to recognize. That is why it's important that we have philosophical training, so we can actually recognize and understand what is to be done and what is not to be done. And when we identify these weeds growing, Lord Chaitanya said we should uproot them. We should not water them. We should uproot them. Because if we don't do that, in due course of time, those weeds will strangle the Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of devotion. And if we are careful to protect the seed, and we keep on watering, then that creeper of devotion grows and grows and grows. It grows through the 8 layers of material existence. Desire for liberation, desire for supernatural powers, desire for fruitive sensory pleasures are all like weeds. We have to keep our mind fixed on the true goal of pure devotional service. Because becoming attached to any of these other things is like a weed that can choke our love for God. If we're careful, under the guidance of Guru, Vaishnavas, and we're very sincere, then by this watering, the creeper of devotion will penetrate through all the layers of material existence. Cross over the viraja, which is the border between the material and spiritual worlds. Watering the creeper, it enters into the Brahmajyoti, the unlimited spiritual sky. And then it goes higher and higher into the Paravyoma, which is the spiritual sky where the Vaikuntha planets reside. Then it will go up to the Vaikuntha. And if we keep watering that seed, the creeper will reach the topmost planet of the spiritual world, Goloka, where Krishna is performing his eternal pastimes with Radha and his unlimited devotees. And there, the tree of devotion will bear fruit, the fruit of ecstatic love of God. And that fruit will fall at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And at that time, the gardener will taste the fruit and be forever satisfied. And Lord Chaitanya said, as all this is going on in the spiritual world, the gardener still here in Bombay, or wherever he may or she may be in this world, just carrying on, just hearing and chanting and being very careful with a humble service attitude. And when we taste the sweetness of that fruit, then it's our greatest ambition to distribute that fruit to everyone and anyone possible. Because once we experience what Krishna's love is, we're no longer jealous of people because they have more money, or they have more intelligence, or they're nicer looking, or they have more popularity. Because all these things are not even drops compared to the ocean of happiness, of self-realization, of true spiritual life, of prema. Therefore, to the rich, to the poor, to the literate, to the illiterate, to the religious, to the irreligious, everyone, we simply want to distribute these fruits. We want to share the fortune that we have. Paradukkha dukhi. The more we love Krishna, the more difficult it is to see other people suffering due to compassion. When Lord Chaitanya was in Navadvip, one day he took the devotees out to do kirtan. And they were in a field. And they were chanting, dancing in the sun all day. And they were very exhausted, hungry, and thirsty. But there was nothing around. So Lord Chaitanya said, everyone come here. They all gathered around in a circle around him. And he happened to pick up one old mango seed. Yes? What do you do with a mango seed? That means somebody ate the mango and just threw the seed. Lord Chaitanya dug a little hole with his own hands in the ground and stuck the mango seed in and started chanting. Suddenly, right in front of everybody's eyes, and there was hundreds of eyewitnesses who testified to the truth of this story. Right in front of their eyes, from the ground where that little seed was planted, a sprout came. And it grew and grew and grew. And within a matter of minutes, it was a full-grown mango tree, covered with leaves. And they're watching like this. And little sprouts grew of mangoes. Within a matter of minutes, there was thousands of fully ripe mangoes. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself collected several hundred of them. And he ate one. And then he distributed to all these other devotees. Now, these were not ordinary mangoes. They had no seed and no skin. They were pure pulp. And they were not chutney kind of mangoes. They were so sweet. They were like nectar. Just the smell of them totally intoxicated people beyond their belief. And no person could eat more than one mango because they were so absolutely satisfied. Their hunger, their thirst, and especially their spiritual hunger and thirst. Intoxicating. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just wanted to show people, what is this fruit of love of God he wanted to give us? Now we know mangoes are seasonal. They usually grow in the hottest season. Yes? It's very illustrative, the mango tree. Because in many places like Maharashtra, it only rains in the rainy season. The rainy season ends in September. At least it's supposed to. And the mangoes don't start ripening till about May. Yes? That means September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 8 months that tree has not had any water. And it's at that time that it's giving mangoes. The tree has no water at all, but it's giving us the most succulent, juicy of all fruits. This is when Lord Chaitanya says, Taror iba sahishnuna, to be forbearing like a tree.